Hey guys, it's Cool P back with another Sunday grind. I'm sorry I didn't really get one out last week or get much content out last week, but hopefully the last Sunday grind kind of held you over. Yeah, I'm just going to be playing through some of the tournaments this Sunday and kind of going over my thoughts as I play. Hopefully we can pick a thing or two up from them. Yeah, unfortunately I didn't play the 100 Brovada. I need to get a little bit more comfortable with this site. If you watch my last Sunday grind, I didn't like it very much. I'm not giving up on it, but I wasn't too happy with some of the changes they've made from Bodog. Mainly, there's no warning signal now when you get down in time, and that's been really frustrating for me. The weird numbers things where they don't have names, I can get over that. I don't like it, but I can get over it. When it doesn't warn you when you're running out of time to make a play is the more frustrating thing, and that costed me a lot of opportunities the last time I was playing because I was so unused to it. So I'm still gonna keep playing it. See if I can get into it. I don't have a lot of options as an American, so you know, I gotta try to make do with what I can. Got all the other tournaments on lock. I got knocked out of the 100 on lock just a little while ago. Played it for about an hour and about an hour and a half. Just couldn't really get anything going. So all these tournaments still are pretty small. This one's really, really small. But, you know, I'll be adding some more as I go. I think I'm going to try to keep it closer to 4 tournaments or so instead of 6 this time because, you know, I haven't been playing a ton recently. I'm going to shove on this guy. I haven't been playing a ton recently, and you know, it'll be good for me. And the Bovada thing is also kind of good to be playing a few less tournaments. So like I was just trying to steal, which makes sense with this 6 stack. He didn't have a lot, and you're just kind of looking for whatever situation he could shove in, and it folded to him, so he was obviously shoving in E2. And I got fortunate to pick up a really good hand and have it hold. Yeah, so this one I'm doing pretty good in. It's a rebuy add-on. You know, I got a good stack going. We've gotten pretty far. Well, we've gotten about halfway through it, at least player-wise. That's obviously not halfway through the whole tournament. Kind of, this one just started, I guess, and then this one I'm also doing pretty well. But this one's a tiny, tiny, tiny tournament. I just started it because I wanted to have more tables going because I was only playing like 1 when I started it or something like that. But yeah, we'll see. Maybe I'll be able to talk a little bit more in depth because I'm playing less tournaments, and maybe I just won't have anything to talk about, so we'll see. I don't like limping in that much, but I think this is a decent position to do it. Raising, I don't think gives me much of an advantage because a couple people are going to call. I don't really want a bigger pot necessarily with this kind of hand. I just kind of want to try to see what I can hit on the flop. I'm not a big fan of limping in pre-flop in very many situations at all. It's just something that I feel is... You don't give yourself any edge when you just limp in. When you are raising, you always have that chance of taking down the blinds and stuff. But that was kind of a rare situation where if I raise to try to take down the pot, I'm going to have to raise pretty big. And that kind of hand, there's no reason to. I don't think there's really any reason to take the lead in the pot either. I have position. I have a hand that I'm just trying to draw. And I think it's actually a pretty clear spot to just try to limp in. And I don't think these two guys were really in a position to raise because it's so early. You're not winning a lot of chips by taking that pot down. So, you know, why you're not raising to try to steal it. So these guys are just going to kind of try to see a cheap flop too unless they got something really good. So that seems like a pretty obvious place to just limp in. But like this hand I could also limp in, but I don't like limping in, so I'm going to try not to. I'll make a raise, try to isolate somebody in position, hopefully. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do with this hand. I won't be isolating somebody in position, and I won't be isolating anybody because people are coming along with me. But it's okay. I mean, my hand's not amazing, but you know, it'll play okay. It plays good against a lot of mediocre hands. It doesn't play good against strong hands. And it doesn't play very good when it whiffs the flop, but that's okay. It's also, you know, the amount of blinds you have behind, and right now I got a ton, so there's no reason to really sweat out those raises all that much. You want to win them, obviously, but it's not a huge deal. So I got pocket fours down here. Here I'm just folding. I got to raise here. Try to start some aggression. Kind of take control of the pot a little bit. I have a really bad tendency, if you watch my videos, to get way too passive, and I'm really trying to start fighting that. That's one of the things to take my game to the next level. I really need to start fighting how passive I can get. And looking over some of my play before, it's just, it costs me a lot of money in the long run. So I really need to start focusing on that and not being okay with being a passive player that can win, but being an aggressive player that can win even more. I don't think there's really a whole lot I can do here. I don't really like this spot that much anymore because I know this guy really well. He's from Eugene, where I used to live, and he's a very good player. Yeah, it's probably going to make me tighten up in this tournament having him after me. That's one of the reasons I'm going to fold, just because I'm going to tighten up a little bit in this tournament. I know I was just talking about how I need to be more aggressive, and I'm not terrified of this guy. I just know he's a really good player, and I need to be cautious of that. I've, you know, watched some poker videos with him and studied with him before, and he's shown me a couple of his replays and stuff, and he's pretty good, so he's got a great mind for poker. Okay, I don't need to play that early. I don't like that hand very much anyways. I've really shown you how much I've gotten more aggressive, haven't I? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Ooh. Again, like the last Sunday grind I did, I'll probably just have each video go until the break on lock, which will be every hour. The first one will be a little shorter because I started at about 20 after, so the first one will probably be about 40 minutes or something like that, maybe. A little over 40, I think. Or maybe a little under even, I don't know. And then I'll just do basically 55-minute videos after that with every break, and I'll split it up into parts like that. I feel like that's the easiest way in terms of me recording it, and the best way in terms of you guys watching it. It just kind of flows the best. I know they're really long videos and people probably don't often sit through the whole thing, but I think it works the best. Otherwise, if I did like 15-minute videos, it'd be like 30 parts, and if I did 30-minute videos, it's also kind of hard for me to kind of catch when the 30 minutes is coming up to stop it at the right time. Plus, you miss action from me stopping the recording and then putting it back up. Not from first. God, I don't like this hand, and I don't like it from first. Man. Well, it's not a terrible hand, I just don't like it from first position. And I also just feel like at this early stage in the tournament, picking up the blinds isn't very important to me. Picking up 150 chips, it doesn't really affect my stack. What I really feel like I'm doing is I'm raising, making a bigger pot with a hand that's probably going to get called more often than not by hands that have me dominated and stuff like that, and with people who are in position. So am I really putting myself in a good position raising with that hand? If I'm a really good player, I don't think I can call this. If I'm a really good player, yeah, you can outplay people after the flop, and I feel like I can outplay typical players, but I wouldn't say most players. This is an interesting spot here. Sorry, I often stop one thought to get onto another because something comes up, and here I honestly don't know exactly what to do. The early position raise is a little bit concerning. This is a turbo, and I feel like I have enough to get some hands to fold. I think I can shove this. I don't like the early position raise, but I feel like this is a hard raise to call with quite a few hands that he's tens. It's kind of the hand I was hoping he wouldn't have. Obviously, I was thinking. See, that's why I don't get really aggressive, because that's the kind of stuff that always happens to me. Because my compass for being aggressive is off a little bit, I think. And so I get myself into trouble when I try to ramp up the aggression. And that's why I always go back to my typical passive style. But anyways, I was thinking a lot of the hands he's raising with, ace queen, ace jack, ace 10, king queen, he's really going to have to fold a lot of those, and if he does call, it's not a spot I want to constantly get in, but I'm fine. Nines, tens, I probably should have thought those hands through a little bit more, but I was thinking he might fold those occasionally, and then hands like sevens and sixes, if he's raising with nines and tens, he might be raising with sevens and sixes, and he might just call with those, and then you know, jacks, queens, kings, and aces were the hands I was really kind of hoping he didn't have, I guess. I don't like calling that much, but in this kind of spot when it's just 30 chips, I feel like I can call, and there's no reason to try to make the pot a lot bigger with an ace 8. I'm going to bet out, because he could have me beat here still, so I kind of want to get a feel for where I am. Now I'm going to keep betting out a little bit just to kind of keep the pot small. I will explain this play in 1 second. So the reason I wanted to shove there was because I thought it would make him have to fold a lot of draws, because there's a ton of draws out there. Oof. It's kind of a weird bet, actually. It almost feels like a two pair, like an ace queen that he hit or something. I don't know. I mean, that looks like a bet that wants to be called, and I don't know, it'd be a weird bluff to call me twice and then just throw out a bluff. I don't know what I beat there. So, and I don't see him really bluffing there either. So down here, with that kind of flop, I thought he could have easily hit it. But also if he hit it weakly, like just a 7, he might not want to call. And I do have 2 overs for outs. But if I just throw out a normal bet, like a $500, $600 bet, or, you know, kind of a continuation bet, if he has any kind of draw, he's probably just going to go over to the top. If he has 6, 7 easily, if he has just a 7 or just a 10 in his hand. If I go all in, he probably has to fold. And it's not really a good situation for me if he calls with a pair there, but I do have some outs. I have overcards, and I don't think he can call with a draw, and if he does, it's not really... It's not actually a terrible call if he has a draw and 2 cards to hit for a pair. But, you know, he probably thinks I'm shoving with a little bit better than just overcards. Well, if he's really analyzing it, maybe not, but there's a good chance he's thinking that. The one thing I was scared there is it that flop does kind of crush his range of just limping and then calling. There's a lot of hands, though, he'd limp and call with that would miss that. So you can't just be on that. The other thing is I'm risking a lot of chips not to win, not too many. So it's another one of those close call hands. The ones I'm a little shaky on because of my lack of recent playing, I think. But I still think it was the right play based on, and I wasn't risking 3,000. I was only risking 2,000 because that's all he had in his stack. So you know, I was risking 2,000 to win the 1,000 in the pot. And you know, I most likely, unless he already had the straight, had some outs to still win. So I still had some equity even if it went all in. So I'm trying to find another tournament. There aren't any that I like all that much starting that are going right now. There are a couple starting in a little bit. Yeah, there's actually a couple I like starting pretty soon, but nothing right now. Well, I think maybe I'll just play these 3 until one of those other ones starts. I think I'll sign up for these 2. Obviously you don't want to see that queen there, but I'm just going to make a small kind of pro bet. I still got a pretty strong hand, but I don't think he's going to raise me unless he actually has something still. And that way I can kind of keep the pot smaller and, you know, kind of entice him to call with a hand that I still beat. But I don't think he's check raising with nothing there. I mean, he could, but I think that's less likely. But, you know, if he hits second pair there or something, which I beat, I want him to stick around. So I don't want to make a strong continuation bet to make him fold that hand. I want him to stick around with that hand. And he's not going to fold a queen, so I shouldn't be trying to make a bet that's going to make him fold a queen. If you can really analyze that kind of spot right there, I think there's a lot of knowledge to gain from trying to maximize value from the hands that you beat and trying to protect yourself from the hands that you lose to. And that's kind of an obvious thing to say, but there's so much that goes into that, that if you really analyze that and think about that in all these different situations, you can really maximize your value on a lot of hands, I feel like. It's not exactly the flop I want with this hand, but these kind of flops can often be good flops to kind of continuation bet on, because if he doesn't have anything in that suit and he doesn't have a pair, he's almost never going to continue with it. Now if he does have something in that suit, a high card usually, or has a good pair, he'll continue. But like if he has a 4 and no heart, it's going to be hard for him to continue. If he has, you know, if he has a jack, he's going to continue, and if he has a good heart, he's going to continue. But if he doesn't have anything else, it's hard for him to bluff, and it's hard for him to really do much if he doesn't have anything else. Long-winded way of saying what I was trying to say. But I got time. These videos are long, so I got time. I'm only playing 3 tournaments, and one of them is on break, so I really only have 2 tournaments to talk about. So with this Jack-10, I'm going to try to limp in if I can. Again, I don't like limping in, but again, what's the point of raising here? I'm not going to try to get everybody to fold, so I might as well see a cheap flop with a hand that has potential. Didn't really hit anything, so I can just kind of see if I can get a free card that suddenly open ups my hand a little bit. Open ups. Hit top pair. Um, it's not an awesome hand. There's a lot of 10s that still beat me, but I don't want to just not do anything after hitting that, I don't think. So I'll throw out a little pro bet. And again, I'm kind of going with the same scenario. I want someone with a 9 or a 6 to call me. I don't really want to play to a raise. I don't think that would be a bluff, especially with the 2 people behind him. The only reason I would really think it could be a bluff is because my bet looks really weak. But I did make it in first. So I don't see myself really beating a lot of his range there. And I don't see why he'd be trying to bluff right there. Especially if he didn't bet on the flop, you know. Let's see how I'm doing. I'm right in the middle of this tournament, at least position-wise. This one I'm a little bit short, but not much has really happened in this one. And this one I gotta go to the lobby to figure out where I am in this one. Oh jeez, it's so confusing on Bovada. So there's 594 players left. And wow, it's kind of tough to figure that stuff out on this one. So I'm at number 689. I'm in 226 out of 619. Did the player, no amount of players just go up, or I can't rewind, so I don't know what I said before, but. Okay. Nothing much going on right now. As you can see, this is the part of poker that people call the hours of boredom, and then you have the moments of terror when you're staring down a big bet and it's for all your chips and you are on the final table bubble or something like that. It's always fun when you win that, but it's terrifying dealing with it. No reason to try to raise there, just try to hit a big flop with a big blind hand. I don't think there's really much to say about that. And I missed completely, so I'm just going to get out of the way. This has been kind of dull. Try to spice it up for you guys a little bit in terms of entertainment value, but it doesn't really feel like the timing is right to just start cracking jokes or anything like that, so I don't feel like I've set the mood in that sense. I can raise here. The question is, I think I'm gonna, yeah, I think I'm gonna basically put this guy all in. Basically put myself all in, but yeah, I think I'm gonna do it like this. I often overthink these situations and do things that actually make people do things weirdly, but kind of my thinking is it gets him to stick around with a few more hands, and it might make someone else try to go crazy with a hand that you know, like if someone has 8s or 7s, it might make one of these guys think they have, oh wow. That was fun. It might make one of these guys think, oh, I can get this guy to fold with my 8s or 7s and try to push him off. Now, a lot of times I'll do something like that and it'll totally backfire. Like somebody behind me will call because of that and it'll totally kind of mess up my plan. Or someone will raise with, go all in with Queen Jack thinking they can get me to fold, and then, you know, I'm in a coin flip that I didn't really want to be in. So, you know, I often try to get a little tricky in those kind of spots, and it's just kind of like, it doesn't really backfire in the sense that what happened, like if I get in a coin flip, it's not like a horrible thing to get in, but it's like, that's not the reason I made the play, and you know, it was a consequence of the play I made, and it ended up really hurting me, and that can be pretty tilting and feel really frustrating. But I got myself in a great spot. That's kind of looking at it results oriented, but I mean, that was a hand it was really similar to just going all in, so I don't think there's really a ton to say there. I mean, there is some stuff to say there, but it's just analyzing other people's reaction to what I did is a little bit pointless because most players are just going to view it as me going all in, basically. So this is kind of interesting. I 3-bet this guy, and this guy just calls. Now, it's hard to kind of see what his range is because I don't know anything about this guy. I mean, called in position. I feel like he's probably not a great player because of that. But I also feel like there's a lot of pairs in his range, and that's probably one of the reasons he called. I'm going to kind of try to check and try to get a free card, and if he checks, I'm going to really think I have the best hand. But if he bets, I'm going to kind of put him on a pair, because I feel like that's the kind of hand he's going to be calling with right here. And that any pair looks great on this flop. You know, 2s through aces look really great on this flop. So, and yeah, this guy could also have something too. Oh, it's a drawing hand. He had the pair. So I was a little off with what this guy had. He had a flush draw instead, and I would have beat that guy's pair. So I was a little bit off reading that. I did think something like that was a possibility. I just felt like that. I wouldn't like calling a 3-bet with a 7-6. You know, this guy could re-raise again, and I think that was actually kind of a bad play by him. And but you know, I guess that was in his range. I wasn't really thinking a flush draw, especially before I was making my play. It's hard to think of him having a flush draw. But really thinking about this is something I don't do as much, and this is why my hand reading online has gotten worse and worse and worse when I haven't been playing, is I think this thing that I can go all in with, just him raising all in under the gun, is I often don't respect that play, this play at all right here, where someone's just first position, they just shove it with like 10 to 15 big blinds. I rarely respect that play. It's often very mediocre hands. Pretty mediocre hand that he hit. So I got myself into coin flip, not great, but again, this isn't a great hand here. You know, it's an okay hand, and I can't fault him for that play. I might not make that play because you're really trying to steal the blinds, protecting yourself against hands like mine, and you're trying to steal from first. And I know he's short, but he could have survived the blinds again and tried to steal from, you know, the button or something like that. And I just feel like stealing from first is a... You're not really stealing from first, you're just hoping nobody picks up anything. You know, and the chances nobody picks up anything isn't great. And you're protected against smaller pairs that are going to go up against you, but I just don't think that's a huge value play there. Maybe there's a small value. I don't know if it's very big. If there is, it might be a minus EV play. I honestly kind of think it is, especially before the antes. And you know, he's short, but and a lot of times when you're short, you're never going to be in a great spot, but I think you could have found a better one than that. Here, I got to go all in. This hand's a lot better than ace-10, and frankly, I'm even shorter than he was. I already got some money in there. Ooh, and I got some fold equity. Wow. Got both of them to fold. Was not really expecting that. I knew it was a possibility, but I was thinking one of them, raising my blind with my stack, would think, you know, I'm going to call if this guy shoves. But sometimes I give other players too much credit. Sometimes I give them not enough. So I also haven't had stats for a while. I still need to get my poker tracker fixed. That's something I really need to make a bigger priority. Normally I play with stats, and I'm kind of playing without them, and it's kind of hard because I can often gauge if a player is bad, mediocre, or good just by looking at their stats. I mean, I don't know a ton about the player. I just know how much credit to give them based on their stats a lot of the time. Although Brovada and Bodog you can never really use stats on. It's always been against their terms of service and stuff like that. I gotta go all in with this one. They always have tried to cater to the casual player. They're primarily a sports betting website, and they have a casino, which I think they actually make the most money from their online casino, which is kind of sad. But they've always primarily been a sports betting website, and so they've always tried to cater to their sports betting fan base or user base and trying to make it better for casual players. And that's the reason for a lot of these recent changes. And hit my ace, but he hit a flush, so I lost another coin flip. I feel like I've been losing a lot of coin flips. I am down to only 2 tournaments, but I have 2 starting in about 5 minutes, or the break is starting in 5 minutes, and then I think on the hour or the start of my next video there will be 2 more. So I'll probably be playing 4 during my next video again, which is kind of what I want to stay at. Again, let me know if you like 4 tables the most, or 6 tables, or just 1 table. I usually just kind of play without thinking about what I'm going to record. Other than my kind of heads up series, I kind of do that for you guys a little bit. And I also want to get better at it because it fits my schedule so much better, those heads up tournaments. It's hard for me to take a whole day to play a long grind unless it's on the weekend. So I like playing those sit and goes and stuff because it fits my schedule a lot better, and I can fit them in when I want to. So I'm playing those to try to get better at them and to try to be able to succeed with those. But you know, I kind of just play what I'm going to play and record it if, you know, I feel like I should be recording or I need to get some more content out or something like that. But let me know what you guys like the most, and it'll, you know, I'll try to get more of that type of content out to you guys. If you like the sit and goes, if you like the multi-table tournaments, if you like me playing 6 tables at once, or 4 tables at once, or 2, or 1. I mean, some people probably just like it when I'm at the final table just talking about that one table. It's probably most exciting when I'm actually making a deep run. That's probably the most fun to watch. And it's probably not that fun to watch when I'm short stacking 2 tournaments at once, and that's all I'm doing. Although I guess I'm not super short, I'm not that far in these tournaments. I'm not very far, and this tournament is just a tiny tournament. I'm actually surprised I signed up for it in the first place. No, this one also is a bounty, which does change strategy a lot. I feel like it really only changes strategy for about the first hour or 2, and then you just kind of have to forget about it and just not care. Although I don't know if everybody does do that, so you always have to keep in mind what other people are thinking, and sometimes they think different things because of the bounties. When I have, you know, 4-to-1 odds or even better, I feel like I gotta try to hit something, and I did. And I think this is a good spot to try to check raise. He's not gonna bet though. And I think this is a good spot to go all in. And he is just barely better than me, but we both hit straight. Wow. I got fortunate there, but I'm also really surprised he had just one better than me there. Wow. You know, I actually just blanked on, I just raised with ace-8 in kind of middle position or early position when I have this. I think that's what I did. I'm just totally blanking on what I actually did there. And I don't think it was a great play. Yeah, why did I just raise to 533 in second position? Or third position. That was bad. I didn't even realize I did that. That's what happens when your mind's running on autopilot. And honestly, my autopilot mind is not running very well, and so that's due to not playing a lot. I mean, if you look at my stats on like official poker rankings or something, the amount of tournaments I've played in the last 3 months is kind of sad. Oof. Question is, can I get him to fold? And I think I have a small chance of getting him to fold, and it's worth it, especially because of his stack. If he had a lot more chips, I think this play wouldn't work as well. But he has put most of his chips at risk to call this, and it is a decent sized raise on his chips, so it makes it kind of hard. And he called anyways, but I got outs. But I can't seem to hit any of them. So if his hand was a little bit worse, I think he would have folded, and I still had a lot of outs. So I'm down to 1. The break starting in 1. I guess I'll just let this go until the break. I'll maximize it for you guys. The break's gonna start any hand now. But man, I'm down to 1 tournament. I guess the first hour again hasn't gone very well for me. Although I think variance has been against me. I've lost a lot of all-in pots. So I haven't been too disappointed with my play. I haven't been playing amazing, but I think I've lost a lot of my all-ins and stuff like that. So a little frustrating, but nothing I can't overcome if the variance switches on me. I think if the variance switched on me, I'd be doing pretty well. So I can take comfort in that, I guess. Oh yeah, the break's in. I guess yeah, just 1 minute. Or under 1 minute, it says. I would be commenting on this hand, but I haven't been watching it, so it's hard for me to know where anybody is if I haven't been watching it. Also, he is, oh, you don't know who I'm pointing at. I just tried to point at the screen and tell you I think this guy is this, but okay. Well, it's break now. I hope you guys enjoyed that part. Sorry I got knocked out of so many tournaments, but I'll come back in part 2, and I'll be playing more tournaments then. So I hope you guys liked it, and I'll see you guys in part 2.